Hey, hey, I'm Ayuma Michelle, and welcome to Let's with Ayuma. This is an online safe space that I started to empower progressive women from all over the world. Today I'm going to do an assumptions tag, right? Assumptions people have about me. So this is the tag, right? But just before we go any further, I'd like to ask that if you like my content so far, please go ahead and subscribe. As you all know, my goal for this year is actually to reach 1,000 subscribers because I need these messages to get to as many people as possible to empower as many progressive women all over the world as possible. Okay, so yes, today I'm going to do an assumptions tag. And the reason why I thought this is interesting is because, most of the time, whenever I'm in communities or whenever I meet different people, there are these weird, sometimes crazy, but also sometimes really sweet assumptions that people have about me. So I just wanted to, just interrupt the program a little bit and provide, this interesting content. So some of these assumptions are people are very recurrent, like the ones that just all the time people just have these assumptions about me. And then there are others which were suggested, which were actually nominated by people that I know. They were like, no, please talk about this, please talk about this. And then there are others which are quite weird or interesting, but I'm just going to mention them anyway, right? Yeah, so let's go. So the first assumption people have about me is that I'm West African. This is one of the recurrent ones. So I have no idea why, but I think it's maybe my facial features and then my name. My name is Ayuma. It's a Kenyan name, but then again, it's one of those very rare names. Like especially from my tribe. It's one of those rare names. So I think once somebody hears it, maybe they think it's West African. And then also my facial features. I've had friends who are Ghanaian look at me and say, by the way, because of your high cheekbones, you definitely look Ghanaian. And then also there are some Nigerians. I've ever been around some Nigerians, completely new strangers. They looked at me and they were like, no, you're Ghanaian. But this is a fun part. As soon as they looked at my shoes, they were like, you're Kenyan, because I was wearing sneakers. So I don't know, is it because we come from a running nations, a running nation of amazing world-class athletes? I have no idea why, but something about me wearing sneakers made them think that I am Kenyan. So they were like, no, you're definitely Kenyan. Yeah, so, and then the second assumption people about me is that I'm a firstborn. This has come up quite a lot. People think that I'm a firstborn, but I'm not a firstborn. I'm actually a middle child, secondborn. And I think the reason why people think I'm a firstborn is because of my personality type. I'm an ENFJ personality type. Please check out this website called 16personalities.com. On this particular website, you'll actually get to learn your actual personality type. So my personality type, which is the ENFJ, apparently it's that of natural leaders, like natural born leaders. I find myself in leadership position consistently. I basically love getting things done. I love getting things done. That's why I don't wait for people to do stuff for me. I don't know. When I'm in a group of people and there's disorganization, I also feel disorganized. So I always try to create some kind of order and direction so that, we have something, we know where we are going, right? Yeah, so I think that is more of my personality type more than, me being a firstborn. Yeah, but thanks anyway. And then the third assumption people have about me, this is very interesting and it's very recurrent. So that I only date foreigners. In fact, this person said, I don't see you dating a son of the soil, which means a black man. So you guys listen, okay? This is the thing, and maybe I should do a video about my dating life and my relationships. I've been very private about it, but I think with all of the things that are happening around the world with Black Lives Matter and people, and especially since it was on June 12th, I think that was like the loving day, where it was like where people were celebrating the Richard and Mildred loving, that is interracial love. I think it's very important to discuss these things, especially in this world, because it's 2020. Like, racism shouldn't even exist. Like, people shouldn't even be fearing saying that I'm dating people of other races. Like, it's very, very it's very strange that we've come this far in civilization, but people's mindset are still very behind. So yes, I will admit that I have majority of my dating life. I've dated foreigners, amazing men. These are amazing men. Yes, and I've hardly dated, like local guys. But it's not because I am intentionally not dating them. This is more of who am I attracting. I attract values that are in alignment with myself, the ones that are my core values. I attract minds, a particular type of mindset. I attract certain personalities. And also my faith is also very important. I am a woman who really values my own space, my own freedom of expression. I'm a woman who really values my faith, and not faith with regards to religious type, traditional way people have been doing faith, meaning looking at myself the way God sees me as Ezer. God said that he created a helper, Ezer. So a man who isn't able to see me as an equal and as somebody who is favor and as somebody who has amazing things to do and bring on the table, I never give that a second thought. So I realize that this comes with upbringing, this comes with mindset, this comes with culture. So I think maybe for one way or another, that's why I've been attracting lots of foreigners, because it has a lot to do with values, and worldview and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but I think I'll actually do a video about like dating life and stuff, because I've hosted a couple of sessions. I hosted a session earlier this month with regards to dating for women, and lots of interesting stuff came up, so I could even share some of those tips that I've actually learned, not because I'm a dating expert, although I have an amazing friend who's a dating expert, and he shared with me some of those tips. So I'd also be happy to share with you guys, with you ladies, those tips as well. That session was so beautiful, so amazing. Yeah, so yeah, that's about that assumption. And then the fourth one is, this one was by request. Somebody said that, this is quoting them, one of my friend, he's in his 70s, said to me that tall women are generally assumed by men to be trophies and not smart. Please address that. Ilinishangaza. That is in Kiswahili, it means it shocked me. It surprised me. So yeah, funny enough, that's a very, very interesting question. So a very interesting thing that I'd like to share is that, I actually see where this might be coming from. It's a weird mindset people have, that if you look a certain type of way, you can't be smart. It's like, in fact, people keep saying that God can't give you everything. My goodness, God can give you anything and everything he wants you to have, including beauty plus brains and a bag of chips on the side and ketchup. God can give you anything. So just because you're beautiful, it does not mean you can't be smart. And that's something that I've really, really battled with. I personally consider myself to be beautiful, but then there are people in our society who think that you can't have brains and beauty at the same time. So I even remember on campus, there's a time, people considered me to be, a particular type of way. They were like, oh, those tall chicks. I used to hang out with two friends who are quite tall, so it's like we were the tallest girls on campus. So people considered us to be like, oh, those bougie chicks, those tall ones who look like model, who are whatever. So basically people are just looking at us based off of our bodies, that profile, but not really our minds. So there's this random guy who one day just came up and just offered to tutor me in math. Like, out of the blue, out of the woodworks, this guy just came out and he was like, hey, I can offer to tutor you in math. So me, I was like, who told you I need help with math? At that time, this guy didn't know that I was an A student in math, and that in fact, I was a top student in math in my class, and that I was actually tutoring other classmates. So there's that weird assumption that people normally think that, if you look a certain way, you can't then be. I'm also reminded of another event when We were just at a random networking event, and there's this friend who randomly pulled out, a challenge. And then, obviously, a math challenge. Can you imagine? We're just a couple of friends, and a guy is just out of nowhere pulling a math challenge. And he specifically targeted me and another guy who's some Harvard economics or business student, and he was white. So definitely you can see those two comparisons. Then he brought up this challenge of it's an ancient math problem. It's ancient math challenge. So, and he was like, yeah, solve this math challenge in 30 seconds. And the guy was like shocked that I solved it in less than 30 seconds. So he was like, yeah, beat you against this white geek guy from Harvard business or economics class and stuff. So he was shocked that I actually beat that guy in less than 30 seconds in that ancient math problem. I think it was an Indian ancient math problem or something. But there's that weird assumption that, if you look a certain way, you can't be smart. But the last one I'll also share is that there was a time there was a national innovation forum here in Kenya for different entrepreneurs and stuff like that. And I remember there was different stands. There were like businesses which were on seed stage, and then there were others that were growing, and then there were others that were really, really advanced, right? So I think I was in the post seed stage. That's that space there between 1 and 3 years. So I was like, wow, this is such an exciting forum and stuff like that. So I was there with my previous startup. I was pitching my previous startup, and obviously we were expecting the president to pass by, and if he chose to stand right in front of you, you were supposed to present. So I remember these two guys, and I'd known them from this big, huge innovation community in Kenya, especially for techies. And so, they looked at me and they were like, you have nothing to worry about. You have a pretty face, so definitely the president will stop by and look at you. So I was like, that's all you think I am? Like, I am here to actually pitch an actual real business. I am not here for looks. I'm not here for visuals. So these are constant things that I keep facing, which I believe it is time. It's no longer time for women to start play small. Because the power suits and everything. For example, it was really shaped by Margaret Thatcher. Wearing the power suit and a woman coming off looking really powerful and masculine and stuff like that. But I know I'm not about that. I really advocate for women to show up feminine in the workplace, so that the more and more and more men see us in workplaces, see us smart, see us delivering and making those amazing decisions, it will now change that narrative of women don't have to be masculine for them to look authoritative or to look smart. Women don't have to make themselves look weird, and not look pretty and beautiful and stuff for them to be taken seriously, right? So that is something that I'm very, very passionate about. And I actually believe in women wearing dresses at work, colorful dresses, feminine dresses, wearing that lipstick, wearing that makeup, and still making those boss lady decisions. I believe in that, right? So you can clearly see where my passions are. And thank you so much for to the person who actually requested that I talk about that. Thank you so much. This is a very good question. It's a very good question or assumption to address. Yeah, so the fifth one is I know what I want. Yes, that's a very good assumption because it is actually true. I am very, very clear on my purpose. I'm very, very clear about where I want to go in my life. I'm very, very clear about the type of people I like having around myself. And there's something just so powerful about discovering your purpose, not on your own, but especially when your purpose is rooted in God. You realize that there's been a campaign He's been running since time immemorial. And once you see the role that you play in his purpose, you realize it is serious and you cannot play around, you cannot fool around, you cannot joke around with your own life. That is the one thing you're supposed to be responsible for. So once I discovered my purpose, not only in God, but also through the kind of work that I'm doing, it gave me a clear, razor sharp focus. And so that even influences other things. There's sometimes people who keep asking me, oh, why are you still single? Why are you still single? And I'm like, okay, it's because it's not yet God's time. But as I wait, because I'm a Zer, right? I am working on my purpose because I have something to bring to the table too, right? So I think that once you know your purpose and you discover your purpose, you will wake up every day knowing that there's urgent work to be done, guys. There's urgent work to be done. So that's why I actually, I actually believe it's true. I actually know what I want and what I need. Yeah. The sixth one, this is very weird. This is very weird. That either I'm a snob or I'm strict. This is very interesting. So I don't think, am I a snob? Okay, I'm strict. I would say I'm very strict when it comes to some stuff, especially with regards to business. Business does not care for feelings and for other things. It cares about getting work done. So when it comes to meeting projects, and also my background is in journalism. Literally, when you study journalism, everything has a timeline. Not only with teamwork, not only with projects, like every single thing has a timeline. So for me, I really work with timelines. And if you yourself, if you cannot discipline yourself to meet your own deadlines, if you cannot discipline yourself to, to be a person of your word, if you say maybe to a teammate that I'm going to do this by this part, it then gives them relief to do their part. So imagine if you don't do your part, it literally lets down the whole team, right? That's how I actually see it. Some people call it strict. For me, I see it as discipline. It's simple. You go really far in this life with discipline. But if you don't have discipline in your own personal life, but also in the work that you do, you won't go far. Like literally, it's just a simple principle in life. If you're not disciplined, you won't go far in life, because it means you're not respecting the things you value most in your life. Whether it's your work, whether it's with relationships, whether it's with team, whether it's with your community, you need to have discipline to get far in this life and to get stuff done. But as for a snob, I think maybe it's for my personality. I'm an ambivert, which means sometimes I can be extroverted, sometimes I can come off as introverted to some people. And so I really, really love my company, guys. Like, I love my company. Like, I can literally spend time by myself for a very, very long time. And be it reading a book or whatever, but I really love that time. So maybe if somebody meets with me at me time, because I remember I used to literally take myself out on dates, back when I was in the city, I used to take myself out on dates, be it movies or to a restaurant or to go to my favorite burger joint. My goodness, COVID, I missed my favorite burger joint. It's called Mama Rocks. I love their Nigerian flavored, African inspired gourmet burgers. It's really beautiful. So I just literally used to go there with my book and just stay at my own corner, and I didn't like to be disturbed, So when somebody would come, they would just notice. I would just give them that look for, please, this is me zone. So I really love my own space. But at the same time, I also recognize that because of that ambivert personality, people sometimes can get me. There are some people who would be like, no way, you are completely an extrovert. Yet there are some people who are like, oh my gosh, she talks to people, she laughs, which is really strange. So it depends on which personality you find me in, right? So, and the seventh one is that I am talkative. This one is absolutely right. I mean, can't you tell? And the thing about being talkative is actually it's part of my gift. At the beginning, when I was much younger, people used to say all manner of things about me being talkative and stuff. But I have come to realize that the thing people attack most, your gift lies within there, And so I wouldn't be speaking like this. I wouldn't be a keynote speaker. I wouldn't be a coach. I wouldn't be a storyteller if I didn't come to a space where I was comfortable with who I was. So I realized that my gift of storytelling is within that. I also realized I'm a verbal processor. Verbal processors were different from reflectors. Reflectors are people who, when you ask them maybe a question, they need some time to think, process, and then they'll come back to you with an answer. But my coach told me that I'm a verbal processor, which means that I process things verbally. You ask me a question and I talk myself to the answer. So not so many people have this understanding, and especially in the business world, but Also, just how the many corporates and the world has taught us that people who are talkative are just saying too much and without any sense. But for me, I actually do say that I have a lot of good stuff to say, which is why I've come this far in my career. I mean, if I was saying nothing, really, if I was saying nothing, I wouldn't have come this far, and people wouldn't be paying me premium dollars to actually speak. So that's a very good thing. That it's one of those things that I really comfort myself with, that if I was talkative and it was bad, people wouldn't be paying me for it. You get what I mean? People wouldn't be inviting me to amazing and powerful leadership sessions and paying me for it. So that's a very good affirmation that I normally give myself whenever I meet, naysayers and stuff. So another assumption is that I studied abroad. I did not study abroad, guys. I did not. So this is the thing. Maybe where this assumption comes from is from my education. So I studied my undergraduate studies in journalism. I did it at a university called Daystar University, which was founded by a Christian missionary couple. They're American, and so the entire school system, it is heavily influenced by Americans. Like, there are even like exchange students that come from, I think, South Korea, and others who come from America, and it has a heavy American influence. And also, can you imagine now being a journalism student? Most of our books for journalism and even PR, and I also majored in marketing, most of the books are American. So you can imagine all of the case studies, all of the examples, all of that stuff was primarily American. So I guess maybe that's where that actually comes from, right? And then also my postgraduate studies, I actually did it here in Kenya, but then again, the particular institution that I studied at is heavily influenced. It has a heavy American influence. So maybe that's also another thing. And then also when I did my entrepreneurship studies, which is one of the things I'm so proud of, like I paid for my own education from start to finish. It's the Synapse entrepreneurship program. I highly recommend it. You should check it out. So it is heavily influenced by content, master's content from the Acton School of Business, which is based in Texas, US. So you can clearly see that my education has been heavily influenced, has a heavy American influence. And so maybe that's where those examples come from. Plus also even some of the media that I consume, not only as a coach, but even just for fun, it's heavily influenced, with American vibes. Like for me, a staple to me is BET. I love watching BET, just getting in touch with, what's happening in the Black community in the US, And also I have amazing clients. I serve amazing clients in the US. So it really helps me to keep in touch with what's happening in the US, right? Which is why I've been very vocal about, Black Lives Matter, it's a very serious issue, guys. The ninth one is that I'm bougie. The ninth assumption people have of me is that I'm bougie. So let me tell you a funny story. When I was in uni, one of my close friends actually told me, one of my close guy friends told me that I look like those ladies. I look like those ladies who carry, those rich girls who carry Chihuahua dogs in their bags. Can you imagine? So I was like, dude, like, why would you think I'm one of those chicks? Then he was like, yeah, you look like those girls who carry bags with little Chihuahua dogs inside. So this is the thing. Wealth, the presence of wealth is something that I used to really apologize a lot for that whenever people used to call it out. But then I've realized that maybe it's something people are calling out. And there's a friend who actually corrected me and told me to stop apologizing or to stop denying that, because sometimes people see something in you that they are calling out. So this could be one of those things that if consistently people always have this assumption that I am wealthy, that I am rich, that I am bougie. So she said, please do not stop denying it, because they could be calling out something that is actually coming in your future. So yes, I have come to a point where And I realize I also surround myself with lots of wealthy people. Yes, I want to be wealthy, and yes, I am building on my wealth mentality. I'm surrounding myself with amazing people, educating myself on how to build generational wealth, not just random wealth out of get rich quick or whatever. I'm teaching myself how to build generational wealth. You know, like Jehu. I'm really inspired by his story in the Bible where, because of a good deed that he did the good work and God blessed him to the fourth generation. I want whatever I wake up to do nowadays, I'm thinking about wealth, taking care of my generation 4 generations down the line, you know, my legacy 4 generations down the line. So that's why it's very important, the blood, sweat and tears I'm putting in right now to build my wealth, to secure various assets, to diversify them, and making those wise decisions right now. I'm thinking of 4 generations down the line. So maybe that's why people think that I am wealthy, but also how I carry myself out and the kind of people that I hang out with. I intentionally make sure I hang out with wealthy people, from economists to people who successfully built generational wealth. I take people out on coffee just to learn from them. I go to people's homes to see what wealth looks like, you know, because if you see it, then you can be it. When you touch something that is beautiful and amazing, you can then aspire towards that. So that's something that I've consistently been doing over the years, going to homes of wealthy people to see what it looks like, seeing their families, eating with their families, seeing what that is like, so that because I have seen it, I can then be it. And maybe, yes, I'm claiming that wealth. I'm no longer denying it. I'm no longer making excuses for it. I am claiming that wealth and all the bougie that comes with it, right? All the bougie that comes with it. Maybe one day I'll carry that dog in a bag. Who knows? But if it comes with generational wealth, I'll take it any day, any time. I'll never be apologetic about being wealthy or being bougie. Never, 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 never. And then the last one is that I am very driven. I think this must be somebody who knows me from work, or I don't know. But thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, I love it. I love challenge. I love thinking long term. I love thinking about generations to come. Like, just the way I think about legacy for myself, I'm thinking about the same for my clients. Changing generational legacies of women and girls. I desire to live in a world where women being smart, successful, intelligent, beautiful, and all that magic that exists in women, which is half of the world's potential, half of the world's innovations and solutions and ideas, we are holding it back. So for me, it is urgent to bring that out, because that is exactly what God purposed for us. He said, I have made you a helper. And a helper does not mean being a sidekick. A helper means a co-founder, a co-something. It means being a purpose partner, right? And that's how I see myself. And that's what gives me that drive, that I am working towards that world where our women's stories will change the world, because it's literally in alignment with God's plan, you know? So, and I love what I do, guys. I really, really love what I do. That's why I take it seriously. That's why I kick out anyone who doesn't. That's why I take on different challenges. That's why I support people all the way to make sure that also their dreams come to life. Like, if you're serious about your purpose, I will also take you seriously, you know? And it's just something, it's been a long time coming, guys, because I've really fought with my self-esteem over the years. But it's just so beautiful to come to a point where somebody would be kind enough to say that I am very driven, because finally I have something to work towards and something to fight for, right? So thank you so much for that. So yeah, that's all for today. Those are the assumptions you guys had. Please comment below, what are some of the assumptions people have about you? And what do you think about them, right? It could be crazy, it could be beautiful, it could be weird. Please comment below and let me know, right? Yeah, so that's all for today. This is Let's with Ayuma, where I'm empowering progressive women from all around the world to thrive with purpose. Remember to like, comment, and to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.